Do you dream about being Matthew McConaughey, launching yourself off the spire with a giant double-handed axe in your hand, diving for the giant dragon in Rain of Fire? If so, I have a micro version of that for us to check out here today. Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Welcome to this episode here at Gideon's Tactical. We're having some fun with this one here. We have the CRKT Rune. I picked this up because I want to get into testing out more tomahawks, hatchets, axes, that type of a thing. Just hone my skills in that arena and show off to you guys stuff that's on the market. So I was pumped to pick this up. I saw this at SHOT Show, said, dang, I got to get my hands on this because I dream about being Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. Not quite, but if you're into this style or you see usefulness in the style of a tactical tomahawk, this is a compact version, and Rune, I believe, is like a Viking name or term. And this is a design taken from RMJ Tactical, which makes some of the most premium tactical tomahawks in the world and on the market and are being used around the world. And so this is just kind of a budget version of their design. So we're going to be taking a look at this, thrashing the heck out of this thing. Maybe we'll be throwing it at a dragon and seeing if it sticks. Who knows where this video may go. I hope you guys will stick with us as we dive into the CRKT Rune and what this has to offer and its capabilities. Yeah. Sweet. So for the head, the business end here where a lot of the work gets done. Now obviously this is a tactical style tomahawk, so this isn't necessarily designed for the woods. We did mostly woods craft with this, but we did start out with some tactical applications, really using this spike heavy, going through plywood, hitting concrete, and took out huge chunks with each swing. Was really pleased with that. Destroyed a cinder block and was able to just punch right through, you know, plywood and that sort of thing. So going through drywall, going through cinder blocks, basically through anything that your average house is made out of. You know, it would take some time, but you could totally tear through a wall and do that type of thing with this spike, as well as doing, you know, some outdoor tasks. Not as much as I would prefer with a hammer, but, you know, you can dig trenches with it. We tore up roots when we were clearing, what's it called? A trail, you know, tree had fallen, there was a bunch of roots sticking up, and so we just took some time and did some trail maintenance, and I was able to dig and really get some heavier duty stuff done with that. Now, a hammer, I think, will have more applications in the woods, but for all around utility, it did have a lot of purpose and did give us a lot of use. And even with that concrete, you can see here, it's just slightly damaged. The tip, and I could easily take a file or something like that, or just a good heavy gritted stone and get that nice and sharp, because this did come razor sharp out of the box, this little spike back here. If you did want to grind this down, you could totally grind it down to about here, and then it would give you this nice big flat area that you could do some light pommeling with and hammering if you wanted to. I actually may consider doing that myself. We will see. But that's the spike portion of it. I would like to see, possibly, just as we are talking, you know, CRKT come out with a second version of this with more of a hammer hammer and maybe even give us a little bit of a flare back here to really get some good pommeling done. I think would be sick. But anyway, up here near the front, we have a 3-inch cutting edge, razor sharp. Most tomahawks that you see on the market, particularly in this price range that we'll discuss in a little bit, are usually dull as a butter knife. That is not the case on this Rune. This was razor sharp out of the box, great relief edge. I was so happy with that. So it gave great penetration through the man-made materials like the plywood, but then with all of the woods tasks, I was super stoked with it because it took huge chunks out, more so than I was expecting, and better for the compact size and weight class that this tomahawk is. It was surprisingly good with everything that we threw at it, including feather sticks, finer cutting tasks, that type of thing, and was just really pleased. The chopping was insane for this tomahawk. Now this weighs 1 pound 8 ounces, so it's basically a 1.5 pound overall weight, and it is made out of SK5 steel. So that is a good high carbon steel for the market that's made in Taiwan. So you'll see this in a lot of overseas produced tomahawks from like Boker. You know, there are a couple other ones out there that are rocking SK5 steel. You know, it's a good steel. It's tough, it's shock resistant, it's easy to put an edge back on it, and if you do damage it, it usually just rolls instead of chipping, so that it's easier to put your edges back on it. It was very easy to maintain this edge even after just totally wailing on the ground, trying to dig up that root, getting some burrs and some rolls and that type of thing, but it was very easy to get another razor sharp edge back on it. Now the thickness on this entire tomahawk is 0.24, so just a hair under a 1/4 inch thick. So out of the box I was like, I don't know how good this is going to be with just chopping in general. We were very pleased again with the chopping, but then with splitting, I was like, this isn't going to split anything. But I actually split some stuff really well, and I think it's just because, again, of the relief edge and the very shallow saber grind that they give it. You know, it's not a super wide, abrupt grind. It's very sharp edge and then a fine, kind of shallow, going to that saber grind made it so that it penetrates super deep into your wood. Now, obviously, this isn't like a camp axe where you're going to be splitting, you know, 6-inch logs, but you can do some of that work, and you can split kindling if you needed to with relative ease. I mean, as easy as many of my other camp hatchets, which is really cool to see. And you can even baton with it because it's a full tang. You just hammer right back here, get some splitting done if you want to do it that way as well. So really, out of the box, I was like, this is not going to be a great performer around the campsite or out in the woods. But actually, if you're into tomahawks, this is a fantastic, compact companion for the woods. And I'm loving it. I'm not going to get rid of it. You know, this would be something I would usually, you know, test out, review, and then probably throw up, you know, for sale or something like that. But I think I'm going to keep this in the collection for quite a while just because of the versatility to compact size that I see on the design. Now let's go ahead and discuss the handle portion here. Obviously full tang, which I'm always digging. I always like that. And as I'm beginning to test out more and more tomahawks, axes, hatchets, that type of thing, for me personally, it's just a personal preference thing. I always am going to gravitate to full tang. It's less mess. It's less things I have to worry about out in the field, possible heads loosening. I've had a couple axes that have loosened over the course of time, you know, different things like that. And some of it's just the way it is, whereas a full tang piece of metal, you don't have to worry about it. Now this is GRN, so glass reinforced nylon handle scales that they have here bolted in. They have not loosened up at all. They do just have an Allen head, an Allen driver to put those on. We got 2 holes here just to help with some balance as well as to give you lashing options with your paracord. Then it comes out the bottom. Now something to consider is that the scales are not flush with the body. I'm not quite sure why they did that. It did not create any hot spots for me. Brian, our other cameraman who does a lot of testing with me, did complain slightly. Again, I didn't have any issue with it, but if you have owned other products, knives and axes that have slightly lower handle scales and they don't bother you, awesome. If you do, or that is a concern, just keep that in consideration. It's not flush. Now, you could easily remedy that with these holes here of wrapping paracord all the way along the handle. I actually believe a lot of people will do that. It's a great, you know, tomahawk to set up in that way. Again, no problem for me, and it gets slightly larger the further you go down. I just throw my thumb in here like this, wrap it around, and I'm good to go. And the axe cannot fly out of my hand when you do that type of a setup there. So very easy for you to do. And for being 12 inches overall from top to bottom, again, very compact, but you are still able to get a good swing. I didn't have any sort of vibrations. you know, or pain in the hand, hot spots, and as long as I do that lanyard setup, it's not going to fly out of my hand. Now, if my lanyard breaks, I'm going to get about 3-4 swings, and then it's going to be wanting to fly out of my hand because it is that stick tang. You know, it's just a stick. There's no hooks. There's no, you know, ergonomic setups in that way. So just keep that in consideration. With the lanyard, rock on. Without, going to be pretty tough, and you're only going to get a couple swings before you're going to have to reset the Tomahawk. And to finally wrap up the ergonomic portion, I love this big cutout right here, this nice neck. Really gave me the opportunity to choke up and with the fine edge make rather good feather sticks for an axe or tomahawk. I was really pleased with that. Very ergonomic, very close choke up into the blade head, and could really get done what I needed to for the finer detailed work. So for woodscraft in that sense, that's a really nice feature to have. Let's take a look here at this polymer plastic sheath. This is actually taken from, again, the RMJ sheaths. They're very similar, just they're made out of Kydex to my knowledge and some slightly tweaked materials, but very similar design. What we have here is a full plate that the Tomahawk will go into. We have these nice lashing points right here that you can run nylon webbing through, and you could wear it, you know, as a sling. You could run it through molly, that type of a thing. As it comes out of the box, it has this clip right here. This is a pretty low quality, you know, budget clip. You could, you know, replace that if you wanted to. On the back side here, it goes around the neck so it wouldn't fall out. And then we have an extra slip right here for your belt, so that would be able to ride on your belt, or you could run it through different packs and different things like that. So if you disconnect this guy right here, this would stay attached to your belt, so now it's hanging. There's still plenty of retention. This thing is not coming out unless you pull, but the entire bottom has been cleared out so that all you have to do is a nice pull and bam, you're good to go. So very nice, and actually one of the better sheath options that I've seen on Tomahawks. Very easy to attach to belts or to packs, and very inclusive, and being molded plastic, it's going to be a lot more resilient than say something like a leather or a nylon pouch. So very cool, good retention, and a great sheath setup on this Tomahawk. Now we'll hit price with you guys real quick on this as well, and we will have links in the description below over to Amazon. That's always a great way to help support the channel, help me purchase items just like this. I bought this guy so that I can do full comprehensive reviews for you guys, so you can decide whether or not it will fit into your systems, and it's a good item to deploy and use for you and what you're doing in your life. So this guy is going to run you in the $90 range. It's under 100 bucks. It just kind of depends on who, what, when, where, why. And it may even, as time goes on, because it's still new to the market, float down even into the 80s. But you know, it's like 90, 95 bucks. Again, links in the description below over to Amazon. And when you look at other companies that are making foreign produced SK5 full tang Tomahawks, they're all right in that same price range. So it's very comprehensive, very competitive for the market, and I'm glad CRKT just picked the materials. The sheath is fantastic, one of the better sheaths I've ever seen on an axe or a tomahawk, so very versatile, and just a really well put together package for the price point. So folks, in conclusion, I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from this particular design. It's short, it's compact, it's pretty lightweight, and pretty thin. But actually, in comparison, even to some other way more expensive Tomahawks, this is actually performing really well. And I think that some of it is to the thinness of the blade, and that they did give it a razor sharp edge out of the box makes it really nice to be able to maintain. When it does get damaged, it's really easy to throw an edge back on it. And I was able to get really good chopping. I was shocked with the quality of splitting I was able to do for how thin and compact and lightweight it is. And just really pleased overall, folks, with what I'm seeing in its performance level. So folks, in conclusion, I think this is a great companion, regardless if you are looking for more of like a bug out bag, tactical, military style use and deployment for this Tomahawk, or for around the campsite, backpacking, hiking, camping, that type of thing. If you need that, then I think this has a lot going for it, and you want that full tang, lightweight, compact Tomahawk design. I think CRKT has hit it out of the park with this design. So guys, thank you so much for coming over here today, checking out the channel. I really hope this video has helped you out decide whether or not this is the right Tomahawk to deploy in your systems, depending on which system you want to deploy it in. So as always, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Check us out on all the relevant social media. It's a great way to see what's up and coming. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.